Good morning and welcome to What's Up at the River. We are at the Colorado River Historical Society, and this morning I am here with Dennis, a volunteer with the organization. He is going to show us around some of the premises outside. So what do we have out here, Dennis?
This is the outside area, the garden area that we call it here at the museum. This is where we take the kids. Well, they see the whole museum when they come, but for our field trips, this is the main attraction. That's the main attraction right there, the gold mining tub. I want to come check this out here. It starts here. We teach them, we have the plaques that teach them about archaeology, paleontology, gold mining, and, you know, petroglyphs, and just archaeology and science overall. You know, they live in an area, we live in an area where all this is present, so they don't have to travel for it. It's really exciting. And they really love it. If you want to get a little closer here, we fill it with water, and they know it's fake gold. They know it's fake gold, and we replenish it with gold, and we actually get the pans, and they actually each get a section. We break them up in two groups out here, and we walk the first group around the garden here, and we teach them about paleontology. I'll take you over there, archaeology, and the different animals in the tri-state area here. But then they come here, the group that comes here, and they just learn how to pan for gold. And they can actually do it here. They live in an area where they can pan for gold, and they learn how to do it properly. But they just love it, and they know it's fake gold, and they just want it all, and they just love it. They get to keep it. It's just, and this is the main attraction, and it's just really good. And they're learning how to pan, and they learn about gold and silver and all the rocks and the different kind of minerals and stuff that they can find out there. And they do learn about archaeology and paleontology, and they learn that they will find archaeology out there in the field here, and they learn how to properly deal with it, not to take it, but they can take pictures, and it's for everybody.
Right.
And then they learn why they can't take it, you know, that it's the context, and that's how we learn about the prehistoric humans that lived here and stuff. So it really works out here. I'll take you and show you kind of what we do with them. So that's the group that starts here, and then first they learn about gold mining, the 4 different kinds of gold mining, which actually, you know, we have it up here. We're doing chemical mining here, but we're doing commercial mining. So that's what this group does, and this takes half the time for the garden section.
So what kind of gold mining do they do here?
They're doing placer mining.
Okay.
So that's basically with the water.
Okay.
But then we teach them about all of them, because they could technically do dry washing, which is placer mining without the water.
You know, funny story, when my son was little, we took him up to a stream up in Utah, and we had bought some fake gold and let him pan, and he thought he had hit the mother lode.
You should have let him keep going, because he
love
might
it.
have found some real ones.
Right?
And you'll find it out here. There's a lot of gold guys out here.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some guys that go to Home Depot and buy the bags,
Uh-huh.
and they find gold in it, but I mean, I don't know if the labor is worth the payout.
I can imagine.
So, and then on the second section, we start them over here. We actually have a sample of most of the plants out here in the tri-state area. And then we have little sample petroglyphs. They're not real, obviously, but we get to teach them about them. We use them to teach them about it.
That's really neat. And
they actually have a booklet that they follow through with, and all the answers are obviously on the displays here. But it depends on the age. You know what I mean? Like the littler ones, they don't have to fill it all out, but you will be surprised what these kids are retaining. Like they're learning, especially the young ones too. So here's a sample of all the plants. We just kind of walk them around. We'll take time and we'll teach them about all these different sections. This is my favorite one here. They love this. They love the dinosaur. And we're not sure. I mean, I can't guarantee that that's what this is, but they get a kick out of this because this looks like a print from the duckbill dinosaur.
Oh, it sure does.
So that's like, this is another main attraction. They love this dinosaur and they want to go touch him. And so we teach them the difference between paleontology and archaeology. And we bring them here and we teach them about archaeology. And this is where we'll talk to them about the artifacts and not to take them and not to pick them up, but they could take pictures, and it is for everybody. And that's an actual metate. We let them do the metate.
What is a metate?
A metate is a Native American tool. You'll see these out in the field. So if you're out there hiking, you'll see these. And if you see a little indent like this that will match a rock like this, that's a metate. And they used it to grind their food.
Oh.
And you will find these everywhere out here.
All right. Wow. I didn't
Especially
realize
in
that.
Nevada. Especially in Nevada.
So this shelter you guys built to show them what community used this type of construction?
This is one type of them, but yeah, we explain most of them. This starts the conversation.
So kind of an ancient form of shelter.
Yes. There's many of them. So this, like I said, this starts the conversation.
Very good.
But they know, they get a kick out of it, and they're really learning. And then we come over here, and this is where they end on, because remember, they're broken up into 2 groups. So this is where they end here, waiting until their turn to go gold mining. Because
You got a
when it all
wagon?
comes down, yeah, so we walk them through and teach them all this, the historic and the prehistoric. But yeah, that's what, I mean, through all of it, that's what they all really want, is that fake gold.
I can
And we
imagine.
do teach them, while we're doing that, we teach them about gold and how it fluctuates, and they get a kick, and they learn that they can actually look it up and see what it's worth. And, and then we teach them about the different animals of the tri-state area. And like I said, on their pamphlet, these are the answers for what's on their pamphlets and stuff.
So they can kind of go around and check off things as they find them.
And the older ones do. You'll see the older ones do, because it almost appears if they have to turn it in.
Oh,
The
think
younger
it's
ones,
homework?
they do what they do.
Right.
They mainly fill out the gold one. And,
Yeah.
but
It's amazing how early children understand the concept of value and money and currency. The minute you show them gold, they're like, oh,
they love it.
I need it.
They love it. And they want to hoard that fake gold. I don't know.
Doesn't surprise me.
So yeah, and it's really rewarding. It's really great to see the kids learning about it, especially out here, because like I said, they're going to find it out here.
Right.
I mean, and then now they know how to treat the artifacts and how to treat our history and cultural resources.
So you come to our Colorado River Valley from Las Vegas, and you're now down living in Laughlin. Tell me about, you have a degree in archaeology?
Yeah, when I got injured at my previous career at the electric company, I went back to college. So I got a cultural resource management certificate and my anthropology degree.
Oh, very good.
Cultural resource management certificate is basically a working archaeologist. So that, somebody has to dig the holes.
Yeah.
So that's basically, you learn how to dig and excavate and stuff.
And
like
this
that.
is the perfect place for you to be with an archaeology degree.
This has been a really good opportunity.
Very good.
A lot of stuff comes in here, you'd be surprised. Some of it is somebody that died that probably shouldn't have collected it.
Right.
But then they do the right thing and they turn it in, so then we can work with it. We don't have the context then. It's not as nice as if we were to find it out in the field.
Right.
But I mean, it does give us artifacts for the...
And you guys have a huge storage facility for extra items that come in. That building was just completed.
Yes, in fact, there's several there now. We've got to decide. We might be changing some displays soon and stuff.
That's exciting. And I think there's another building coming.
Yes.
Very good. What's this building behind us?
This is the historic schoolhouse that they moved.
So it was at another location?
Yeah, this is not the old location. And they moved this. This is what you're going to see also today too. They get a kick out of this too. This is it's an old schoolhouse. There's a lot of historic artifacts in there and stuff. They did a really good job. I'd take you in there, but I think they want to show you. So.
Okay, that's fine. All right, well then we will meet with our person that's going to show us the schoolhouse. Well, now we're at the Little Red Schoolhouse, and I'm here with Ron, another one of the volunteers at the Colorado River Museum. Ron, tell me a little bit about how the Little Red Schoolhouse got here.
Okay. Well, let's go back to 47, when it was basically established in June of 47. And it was built down here on 3rd Street, 3rd Avenue and Lee on the corner. And it was actually a gray brick is what it was. And it was used for 3 years until 51. And at that time, the city had basically built some other school facilities. And but this was basically the first schoolhouse that the city had before the city became incorporated some 35 years later. Okay. And in the 90s, I think it was the Bash grocery store gave them $1,000 to paint the red schoolhouse red. And the reason they chose red is it was kind of a color that was used throughout America in all the urban areas, kind of like the red barns. And so they painted it red. It's been red ever since. Then it was moved here in 2015 to this particular location. It took them 2 days to get it down here intact, didn't lose a brick.
Interesting.
The roof stayed on. So it's quite the place. Got a lot of historical relevance to it, let's say. And you'll see a lot more as you go inside. And the classroom is set up. We still have some of the kids that have flunked out a few times. They're still here, but you'll see that when you come in. So
well, let's
it's
take
a teaser.
look inside.
Let's go inside. So, and here we are. As documentation has it, one of the people that graduated here from the school, he went to, they were 2 classes. He described it as 7th and 8th grade in the school building.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so it was kind of divided up a little bit. He remembered the bookcase against his wall and some of the other paraphernalia that's around. And they did mainly writing, writing, arithmetic, and spelling, basically. And they did some geography work, and so we have this big sign out here in the back, that map, which is great, because they don't really teach much geography in school anymore.
Well, you'd be surprised how much
Well,
they
a lot
do
of kids
have,
don't know where
but
Albuquerque is, so I'm
Yeah.
thinking that maybe they're disjointed. But
it's really awesome that you had someone to refer to that would kind of give you a feel for where things were placed in the room.
right, and this is what this board is for here. It provides some scenery of the area and some of the kids that graduated during that period of time. And what's relevant about 46 is that's basically when the co-op came into existence, okay? And
What is the co-op?
the co-op is the Mojave
okay.
Electrical Co-op.
Yeah.
And what was great about that is it became more predominant in later 46, and this schoolhouse was built in 47. The two joined, so the schoolhouse had electricity. So it made it kind of convenient.
Oh.
And so some of these are some of the pictures, some of the classes that were here.
Yeah, wow, look at this.
And we have an audio that
So
they can
old.
see online, as well as here at the museum. We have this was donated by Mojave Electric, and there's an audio on there. And one of the older men, actually, he remembers the school, and so he's the one that described a lot of how the school looked.
So what do we have over in the bookcases?
Well, we have our GPS from this is what, today they use Google, okay? That's what we use, Encyclopedia
yes.
Britannica, right? Everybody had those.
Yes.
That was our thing. And then back when I was young, a lot of people would get microscopes, chemistry sets, as long as we didn't blow the house up, okay?
Yeah.
So the rest of the stuff, and we did a lot of, we gathered up moths, and we gathered up butterflies, and did all kinds of things in grade schools, and this is kind of exemplifies that period of time right up and through here. And so in the Ouija board over here for counting and such.
Oh
and,
my.
And then the rest of the stuff is kind of, it shows some of the things and games that were active back in the 50s, basically. And so that's kind of cool.
How did you get involved with the schoolhouse and retaining the history for it?
My wife thought maybe I would be good to, if I volunteered my services here in the local community.
Did you get voluntold?
Yes. I work for the general. I go, whatever
Right.
you want, babe. So this is some of the history, and also around World War II and the building of the atomic bomb and such. This map is great because you don't see many of these. At least when I was down at the high schools for a few years of helping sub, you don't see much of the geography anymore. So I think that's good. Gives people a point of view. This is kind of how the schools were set up. This is kind of the attire that the ladies would wear back in those days. All my school teachers that were women were dressed like this. And that's in the 40s and 50s, early 50s.
Right. Always in a dress.
I'm a little older than the schoolhouse. And the men would wear suits. Okay?
Yeah.
Or without a coat, tie, and shirt. And very nice. Remember the old days of cursive writing, which
Yes.
we've lost, and so people use their thumbs a lot. And
I see you have a paddle over there.
yeah, well, that's certainly not for the good kids.
Nope.
And unfortunately, I had it used a couple times.
Oh no.
Not that particular paddle. I was a good kid. I was just out of my seat a lot.
Right.
And we had a coat rack. This is their coat rack where they could come in and put their shoes. It's not going to rain around here a whole lot. But anyway, they can
Keep
hang
the
up
sun
their
off your
paraphernalia.
head.
So it gives you an idea. We had also these rules, which I think you might find interesting. Rules for students and rules for the teachers. Back in the real old days, a lot of the young women were not to be married
Right.
while they were school teachers. So that was kind of interesting. And the biggest problem we had when I was young was chewing gum in school. They have a lot of other things up there as well. But and you can see the air conditioning ducts up there, which was nice because it would be very hot in here and very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so they brought in a bunch of relics to show periods of time, tennis rackets and stuff. The old Remington typewriter, I learned to type on one like this, about 60 words a minute I got, and that was in 1956. So then there's just other deals. Here's a school bell, call a class to order. There's one on the desk up there that the teacher would use, a small one. This one mainly to get them in from outside.
Huh.
Because when school would start, the kids would be outside playing, and then what they'd do, they would ring the bell, be called to order, they'd line up, they do pledge allegiance to the flag, and then they would do calisthenics and all these kind of things before they come into the classroom. Two things, it keeps them active
Right.
and gets rid of their stress before they sit in these chairs.
Yes.
which were stressful enough. So we've had a lot of people donate a variety of things, obviously, that's available, and you can see here in the classroom, and the dolls that go with it. So it helps to set up so that a lot of times people can't picture certain things.
Right.
You can describe something to them they can't picture. Here they can picture exactly what a schoolhouse looks like.
Yeah.
And we've had a number of retired school teachers come through here and get a big kick out of this.
I bet.
They really enjoy it. And some guys remember going to one-room schoolhouses.
Right.
So, and that's what my dad went to. He went to a one-room schoolhouse until he got out of high school. Well, out of school, 9th grade was the last one. He was in Arkansas, so that's the way that was. And I use that as an example only because that was true throughout most of the country, in the urban areas. Yeah.
Right. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for showing us around in here. We appreciate it.
Thank you
and
very
we
much.
appreciate what you do for our
I'm
community.
glad you're bringing this to light so people can take a look at it and drop in and see us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we are inside of the Colorado River Museum. I have added in Carol Finkelstein. She is the president of the Colorado River Historical Society. And Ron is still with us. We're going to take a walk around and see what they have in here. Carol.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Anyway, this is our retail store. All the money in here goes to the museum. We charge no tax because we are a nonprofit.
Oh, good.
We have some lovely jewelry that's made by Native Americans.
Okay.
And we feel it's not really real, but it looks real, and almost everybody loves it. We have special things in here, and one of them is over here. And of course, we have the Oatman area,
Yes.
and this is books written by a local artist. And of course, we have Walter, and Walter is a donkey, but he's also the mayor of Oatman.
You know, Walter made a special guest appearance at our Chef's Food Fest short film last year.
Anyway, Walter's pretty special.
Yeah?
Anyway, and everything in here that's for sale, shows that we are part of the museum and everything. We even have things to eat here. You can make beans. Yes, there's beans. Recipe books, candy, and cute little things for your kitchen, cups. Anyway, it's just a bunch of fun stuff.
Very good. Huh. Well, let's see what's inside here.
Okay, if we go to the left,
Okay.
you'll start seeing.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is it set up in a timeline?
Okay, basically, yes. So as you come in through the archway there, you go to the left, and it basically tells a story. So you go through here, all the way down through there, around, back through here. And yes, it's basically a timeline. So we have some Native American artifacts and some very beautiful things. Almost everything in here is a donation. So, we respect everything that comes in here. But before it can actually be put in the museum, we have an artifact committee, and they check everything out to be sure it belongs in the area.
Right. And this is a museum for the whole Colorado River Valley.
Exactly.
Bullhead City, Laughlin, all the way down into Fort Mojave, which was a substantial part of our historical.
Well, we call it the tri-state. We even include Needles. So anyway, it's a wonderful place. Over here in the corner, we have a really interesting video that's a wonderful thing to watch. We have Olive Oatman on the wall,
Yeah.
and she was very important here. You'll notice that Olive Oatman has a tattoo, which was actually not a mean thing to do. It was just something that she was marked that way, so she was known how to be represented with other people.
Interesting.
And she was basically, yes. Anyway, so, and then we move on. Well, there's all kinds of things. Okay, we can move on over here. And in this area here, we have, everything has a little bit of a experience where you can read it.
So there's a Beale Street up in Kingman, which I presume is named after Lieutenant Beale. What was the role that he played here in the area?
Well, when he came here, he actually brought down several of his group, and they traveled the area. He brought camels, you know.
The introduction of the camels.
Okay.
See how that would work out.
Yes, and we had a camel camp here.
Yes, we did. And actually, some of the camels were left. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Well, the same with donkeys.
Right.
They were left.
And that's what created our wild burro population.
That's it. Anyway, all of this is interesting. We have a beautiful yoke here. And then on the wall here, we have a lot of interesting pictures, experiences of the people that were here. Here's some more things that have been donated.
So we were
Saber.
basically founded by an expedition.
Exactly. We were.
And then this picture up here is of the old Fort Mojave Fort?
Or the school, yeah.
Okay.
There
That's
was,
the Indian
school?
school.
that was the Indian school.
Okay.
Which, you know, over the years has not been very well
Yeah,
thought of, only because they changed their ways of life.
sure.
But we're moving on.
Yes, we are.
You know, when they started building cabins here, they actually went to the schoolhouse and started taking the wood down off the schoolhouse to use that lumber. So the only thing left of the schoolhouse is the foundational base.
Interesting.
Okay, and then we have some beautiful rocks and things here.
Bullets,
Bullets
shells, and everything
and
else.
shells.
I
yeah.
see some buttons there as
Yeah.
well.
And buttons.
Artifacts that have been found in the desert.
Amazing.
And then here's kind of the history of the area.
A lot of this is regarding the school and the children who attended school there.
Tell me about the Hardyville site.
Go ahead and tell them that. Don't
Okay.
miss out on this one.
Well, Hardyville, this was Hardyville. And the gentleman that started Hardyville was a very interesting man and thought he could do a lot of things here. And a lot of times he was not very much respected with the Native Americans. There were things going on. He had the very first toll road
Yeah, right on
Oh,
here,
interesting.
that went all the way to Prescott, Arizona.
Oh, wow.
which was the territorial area.
That's amazing.
And
Before it moved to King.
before all of that, this
Really?
gentleman did it.
That's William Hardy.
That's William Hardy.
Huh.
So, and I guess he was kind of a loner in his own way, but he made a lot of things possible here, you know, in Hardyville.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
So
then
as we move on, what do we see here? Oh, I know this is really important. They used to have steamboats on the Colorado
That's
River.
right. Here's a beautiful anchor. And actually down by Safeway, which is down on Highway 95, there is an area there close to one of the old motels where there's actually a post where the boats were tied up.
Oh, and it's still there.
It's still there, very little, but it is still there.
Sure.
So that was it. Yes, they went up and down the river and went all the way down to the Mexican waters. Sometimes they couldn't come back because the water was so low, they couldn't get the boat in the water.
Interesting.
What's interesting about tying the boats up there is that they would haul their goods all the way over to the other side of 95 up on that grade because it was high. Because come winter, this area the stream would come out of its bank, overflow, and all these marshes would fill up with water. So as it receded, then they would go back to the original riverbed.
Interesting.
So you had to allow for all these things.
Yeah.
Well, the weather was, because the river was so wide too.
Oh yeah.
So we had a lot of ranches in the
Yes.
area, and if you notice on this map, you have things sectioned off in sections when they did meets and bounds surveys. So it appears as though you have some of the artifacts from our ranches.
We also have barbed wire. which was a very important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was made differently and had a little story behind it.
Were they making their own barbed wire?
I believe they did.
Interesting.
I'm not sure. They could have even brought some in. Each
Yeah.
section of ground is 640 acres.
Mhm.
Yes.
So it's a square mile.
Mhm.
And so any rancher that would have maybe 15 sections of ground is a lot of land.
Yeah, that is a lot of land.
And when you go to Texas, and I've been down there, some of these are very similar in terms of style of barbed wire.
Don't get caught on them.
No, I
No.
have that around my place with horses, and you don't want to get caught on it.
So I think here we're moving into some
Mining.
Mhm.
Mining. And on the wall here, we have Johnny Moss.
Tell me about him.
And Johnny Moss was a miner here in town. And he had a pretty good gold strike
Mm-hmm.
that lasted quite a while. And outside of our museum, we have a beautiful portion from the Moss mine, which is now closed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But he did a lot of wonderful things in this town, was very well known. He wasn't very old. He was like 27.
Wow.
And he was young.
He was very young. And
But most of the people that came this way were.
Sure.
they were
I think you
young.
had to be, right? Because
Yeah.
it's really
You had to
rough
be
to get out
tough.
here.
And they were
Mhm.
very independent, hard, rugged type of individuals.
Sure.
And he was quite handsome.
I see that.
Anyway, and this is some of the equipment that was used for mining.
Is this kind
These
of a
are relics-
layout?
These are relics of what they would have used.
Is this a layout of kind of
Yeah.
what a
It
mine
is.
would look like?
This is basically like a sluice box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they put the dirt and everything on there, kind of shook it out a little bit. And if you were lucky, the gold pieces came out.
Mhm.
And they were showing you pacer mining outside.
Yes.
So you use different things for different situations. with the
Mhm.
water.
Yeah, and this was kind of the basic area of the mine.
Interesting. And then we've got some people that have come through town.
Yes, a lot of them.
Famous writer, storyteller right up there, the cowboy hat.
Louis L'Amour.
Louis L'Amour.
Mm-hmm.
He's written a lot of cowboy westerns about the Mojave Desert area.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people that came through this town that were pretty quick coming in and out that were famous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, up in Kingman, close enough. It's all part of the territory. You had
That's
Andy
right.
Devine. But yesterday we were up at Catherine Landing, and I see you have a paper here that references Catherine Mine. So I would presume there's a connection there.
There
So
is.
do you know where the Catherine Mine was?
Okay, well, I know that it's on Catherine Mine Road as you're coming into the
The
park.
connection's by name only because down there at the water is basically a concessionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So Catherine's Landing is, what became famous was the mine itself, which is up the hill further, much further
Okay.
up.
Quite a bit.
And yeah, quite a bit. And so they captured that name because it identifies the location.
Right.
And so the concessionaire that's out there now, they've got the boat landing, a lot of boats, houseboats, and all kinds of things for families.
Mm-hmm.
And the mine was a very active mine, and we have information on it on this wall over here too. And so mining was a big thing here in this part of the country back in those days, outside of bringing goods down the river and
Mm-hmm.
the Indian settlements in the area. A lot of it was mining related.
I noticed when you take the 68 up into Golden Valley, you do see a lot of shafts that have either been covered over or
Right.
you can see the grading from them.
Exactly.
I would assume that's pretty close to where this was.
Right. Well, there's also mines that are active now right off of Silver Spur
Interesting.
between the
Here-
Parkway and
Oatman.
and Oatman, somewhere up in through there. There's some mines that are active still. So yeah, there's still, and then there's a big mine up there in the when you go up to what's the name of the shore of the valley, Golden Valley.
Golden
Mhm.
Valley.
Up there, there's a big mine. You can see it off to the far east.
Yeah.
That's all mining activity up and through there. So, and under the new administration, mining may come back even stronger than it used to because we need different kinds of minerals for a variety of things.
hmm
So there's a lot of them here, not only in Arizona, but Nevada and different places like that.
Next up on the wall, I see that you've got some of the history of Oatman, Arizona. Oatman's a very, very popular stop when tourists come to town here, and that's great that you have some of those historical pictures.
Well, Oatman still is important.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who made a stop in Oatman was Carol Lombard and Clark Gable.
Yes.
On their wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I think even today, and years ago, because it was right off of part of Route 66, that's the way people went east on that road.
Yeah. We have the anniversary of Route 66 is coming up next year, I think. That's exciting.
We drove through there from 45 to 1960. Well, until they finished up the freeway part.
Sure.
And some of the freeway was not done yet.
Wasn't done. So it's been a pretty popular spot, and it still is pretty popular.
Very good. What do we have in the other room here?
Okay, in here now, good morning.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, that's a nice picture of the dam.
Oh, yeah, that is beautiful.
And this, of course, was some of the native fish that had been caught. That was actually caught in the Colorado River.
So they're real fish.
They're real fish.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. I would not want to encounter that swimming.
But I do believe, that they're pretty harmless.
Sure, still, I think I could fit my whole arm in there.
It's a pretty big fish. But anyway, the history of fishing here, it's not the same that it used to be, but years ago the fishing was fabulous. Things have changed quite a bit.
Sure.
This is a motor that was used on a little motorboat at one time.
Little trolling boat.
Little trolling boat.
Mm-hmm.
And, and here's a picture of the dam
Mm-hmm.
and some interesting things concerning the dam.
We have the 75th anniversary of the dam
Yes,
coming
I
up as
know.
well.
And this is so cute.
It's a
Look.
relatively new addition up here.
Mm-hmm.
This picture.
Anyway, this is all really neat stuff that you can come in and while you're in the museum here and read it.
Sure.
So,
Very
okay.
good.
Okay, then we're going to move over here.
Ah, this looks like the Laughlin
This is Laughlin.
section.
And of course, there's different things. There's the Riverside, there's Pioneer, a little bit of everything that was over there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's our favorite person, Don Laughlin.
Yes, Don Laughlin.
And he donated a lot of things here, including that slot machine.
Aha.
This gives you the history of some of the facilities that are over there and how they were renamed and the dates.
Yeah.
They're all on there.
A close-up of that. That's kind of nice, historically.
We used to let people play with this, but it got to the point that it was not a good thing to do.
You have the Nevada Club up there, Del Webb's Nevada Club,
was
which
it.
is now which casino? Is it the Golden Nugget?
The Golden Nugget, yes,
Mhm.
that's it.
Very good. Del Webb went on to develop a lot.
Everywhere,
Yeah.
all kinds of senior citizen places.
Sure.
It's not a house, it's a computer.
That's
Right.
And
Yeah.
over here we have a switchboard. And supposedly this one here, it took care of a lot of things in town. This is a really big switchboard. I worked on a switchboard, believe it or not, very similar to this
So did my aunt.
a long time ago. And you
Wow.
want to be sure when you put the trunks in that you're connecting the right people.
Mhm. I think you probably knew everybody's number.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so this is kind of an example of what, was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. And then over here in the corner, we used to have the rodeos,
Mm-hmm.
which
And
we just had one.
Yes,
recently.
we did.
And this outfit here was donated by Lisa Moss,
Oh, okay.
and she was in the rodeo.
Oh, very good. Now, I know you have something special in this room.
Okay, in this room, we have almost 60 videos of things in the area.
Mm-hmm.
We have this beautiful picture here that was donated by one of the banks,
Oh,
which
wow.
we framed. And there's all kinds of really neat, interesting things concerning our area. Some of them really old.
I think a lot of people don't realize that the airport runway used to be where Sam's Club and Home Depot
That
are.
was, I
I'm
remember.
going to point out the top of the Bull Rock.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, please do.
Because the original river came down through here like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this here is the Bull Rock.
And that's where Bullhead City gets its name
And
from.
so from up on top of the dam, you can see over there real well. I've been around it in boats, but anyway, you can see it. You see this water line?
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, and we'll show you what that rock looks like out here in an earlier picture. And
Okay.
That's
Anyway, there really was a Bullhead Rock.
Before you go any further, maybe we can go right over here too.
Okay,
That way you segue right into the diner den TV.
Sure.
okay.
So here's the rock
Oh, wow.
back in the day before the dam was built, okay? And over here. Now I've seen pictures of this from another angle, and this is more like a bison. If you've been around a bison, their heads are huge,
Yeah.
and they stick in close to their chest. They walk around like this. And from another angle, you can see a tip here and a tip over there more pronounced.
Yeah.
So the water line that you saw in there in that picture is right about here,
Oh, my goodness.
way up there. That's just to give you a perspective.
So it's changed quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Oh, there it is. Down here again.
Here it is here.
Wow.
That's kind of what we see now.
People always ask about that.
Yeah.
Yes, and some people doubt that there is one. Yes, there was.
Yes. It's
It was
just
a landmark for all of the boats that you talked about earlier, coming up and down the river. It was a landmark.
interesting.
And here we have a neat little video. It flashes kind of things through Bullhead City during different times, and it's kind of a neat
Mm-hmm.
thing to watch.
Yeah, look at that.
And then over here, this is kind of a neat area. This represents our fire department.
Mm-hmm.
And at one time, Larry Adams was our chief.
Yes.
That didn't get paid. He was a volunteer.
Wow.
So, and I think that's his original hat.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's kind of a neat thing.
I'm a volunteer. Does that mean my hat goes in the museum?
And then over here we have some police, different police people,
Mm-hmm.
kind of interesting.
My goodness.
You can show them the mayors too.
And then over here, yes, over here, we go back to the mayors, first ending with Steve D'Amico. And then we have several here. But these are our mayors of Bullhead City.
I think people forget how young Bullhead City is.
It's very young.
Mm-hmm.
It's a young city.
Do you know where this desk came from?
I can't answer that question,
Okay.
but I do think it was in an administrator's office here in Bullhead City.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it is a beautiful thing.
It is.
And then over here, we just have quite a few little different kind of artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
Money in it?
No, no money.
So tell me, what are the plans for the museum in the future?
Okay, well, we plan on, like I said, when we gather some money,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to put on one more building. The city has allowed us to have 6,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on building number 3, which is back in there.
The
which is
storage
It's
area?
our storage archive area.
Yeah.
But we want to do something more for children.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking of more of a children's reading library,
Mm-hmm.
a little museum for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would offer the city quite a bit more. Now, as it is now, we're getting a lot of children from the different schools
Mm-hmm.
that are actually walking through here,
Mm-hmm.
which has never happened before.
Oh, that's great.
So they're coming in school buses and everything, and we do a complete history thing for them.
So when did you move into this building?
This was
About 8 years ago.
about 8.
Okay.
Yeah, about 8
Okay.
years ago.
And it was built with donations and some help from the city. And so how does it operate now? People come in and give donations for the tours.
Well, they come in and they give a donation.
Mhm.
But like I tell everyone, if that's not something they want to do, it's okay.
Sure, because it's free and open to
It's
the public,
free to
right?
open to the public.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's going to happen in the future, I think we're going to change a few things a little bit, but none of us are paid.
Right.
We're all volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And We have a pretty good schedule. We're open Tuesday to Saturday,
And what are the hours?
10 to 4, and starting Memorial, it'll be 10 to 2
Okay.
because it gets warmer.
Yeah.
So, and we used to close in the summer, but we're open all the time. And we welcome everyone to come here.
Very
So
good.
we have had people as far as Bora Bora.
Oh, that's amazing. So that's kind of why you keep the guest
We
book
keep
up
a
front.
guest book.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Mhm.
Yeah, Bora Bora, can you imagine?
I cannot imagine.
But we get a lot from Japan and
Mhm.
Germany and a lot of foreign countries.
So if someone had something in their household that was relevant to Bullhead City, what do they do to donate it?
Okay, first of all, they come in with the article if they can bring it with them.
Mm-hmm.
They fill out a piece of paper
Mm-hmm.
with their name and everything on it. Then it's given to the archive committee.
Mm-hmm.
The archive committee will decide whether it is appropriate. If it isn't, we usually return the merchandise.
Sure.
But other than that, and I would say probably 35% of the things that come in here
Mm-hmm.
are actually received here. We just got something today, a 1918 record player with a radio in it.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Edison.
and this is the gentleman that brought it.
Oh, look at that. Hello, sir. What's your name?
Larry Starr.
Hi. Well, thank you for donating that to us. That's a kind of a neat thing, right?
Absolutely, and I thought it was fabulous.
And it works.
That's even better.
Very
Thank
good.
you. Anyway, so, and that's the kind of, and we all have very good relationships with people that come in here. So that when they leave here, they're still smiling.
So how many volunteers do you have?
Right now, I think we have 30,
Well, that's a lot.
maybe 31. But during the summer, like Ron leaves,
Uh-huh.
and we have several people that are snowbirds, so they leave. But normally we have around 20. So, and I like to have at least 2 a day, 2 or 3 that come a day. So anyway, we all have a wonderful time. We don't get paid, but it doesn't matter. We get paid by all the wonderful things that happen here.
So if someone wanted to volunteer for the Historical Society, how would they contact you?
Okay, they can call the museum,
Mm-hmm.
928-754-3399, or they can call me
Mm-hmm.
at 928-219-2582 and, tell us that they want to be a volunteer. Or they can walk in here, fill out the paperwork,
Sure.
and after they read the paperwork, if it's not something they want to do, but you can do just about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can work on a computer and all kinds of stuff.
I was going to say, we can show you a board of people that are active this year in a minute, if you want to see that.
Anyway, so, it just depends. If you want to come here and just work a couple of hours, that's fine. You don't have to work all day.
It's very accommodating.
Do you have a website for the museum?
Yes, it's Colorado River Historical Society and Museum.org.
Okay. And I've seen you do have a Facebook page.
We have
You
a
can find
Facebook
the same
page.
way.
Same way.
Very good.
And for memberships and anything like that, it can be done online.
Okay.
So,
Super.
and we have memberships as low as $20. If you have something better to offer, anything over $100, you become a patron.
Okay.
And we'll show you outside here is a special board
Very
that you
good.
get to be put on.
Let's take a look.
Okay. This is our patron board.
Oh,
So
okay.
anyone that gives over $100 gets their name on here,
Oh,
and it's very special.
very good.
Just like a thank you card.
Absolutely.
And we also, during the year, we have a special, like a dinner for them. They come in, they get a little prize, and we give them dinner.
Very good. Well, thank you for having
Well,
us
thank
and
you for
showing
being
us
here.
around. Thank you, Ron, and thank Dennis for us.
I will, thank you.
This was really interesting, and I invite everybody to come down. That's all for What's Up at the River.
Thank you.